is, yung nangyari sa'yo, yung O-ring mo sumabit, right? And that happens. Your O-rings also snap. Mine did too, right? It's nothing unusual because nga, sometimes we forget to lube it, the O-ring, right? So, to prevent that from happening again, best way to do is always keep it, you know, cleaned up and stuff, right? So, split the receiver. Wow, air seal, right? You see that? A little bit dry, right? So this has really changed, but again, that's why I keep telling people to buy this. So what I usually do is, for the VFC bolt, also always inspect, right? It's the gas key screw loose, right? You gently pull it midway, give it some squeezes here, right? Oh wait, no, mali. I was thinking GHK, right? Just get it lubed up, right? And always as usual. So from you saw it how dry it was kanina, then now what I do is from on top. Right. So now from that kanina, that's air seal versus the dragging thing, right? So rule of thumb that's good to have is whenever you're about to go into a game, check the O-ring, right? Get your lube pen, right? You would ideally just apply a coat on, you know, look at where it's worn out, right? That's normally the places you'd, yeah, exactly, right? Use your eyes. God gave you eyes, right? Just light coat, right? So same thing, right? Wise. You just inspect all of it. Still good, right? So remember, if it's a little bit wet, other parts of the nozzle, that's fine, right? It wouldn't affect much at this point. Lalo na if you run the gun. If you don't run the gun, that's when you realize, oh, something's wrong. But there's actually nothing wrong. So, right, put it back in, right? What you do is you inspect it, pull it, look at that. See that? For the camera, right? Up to there, oh. And that's what you look for. And once you pull it out, that's what you call air seal. When we're talking about lubricating other portions of the gun, normally my places to add lube would be wherever the bolt hits, right? So what I do is, you see where? You add, right? Just add a little bit, right? Layer, right? It's not gonna affect anything major, right? Same thing, I'll do it for GHK because I do have to clean it up. As a guy who doesn't know shit, right? Same fundamentals apply to lubrication of the GHK bolt, right? So again, in terms of takedown, right? I would also check, see, dry. Right? But if you notice how I put the nozzle clip, right? I put it reverse. Why? So that the nozzle doesn't over travel, it doesn't snag the O-ring. Compared to the VFC, the GHK bolt is great in the sense that you never need to remove the gas key, right? You call this the gas keys. It's just already thread locked to death. And GHK design is that there's no need for you to remove it. Because the VFC, if you look at the difference, right? A while ago, the bolt, you need to remove the gas key to remove the nozzle. Which is, again, their own design. Say it's wrong or right, it's not exactly. So what I would do normally here is I will start by removing the E-clip. To get a small flat head, right? Easier sometimes, depends on your E-clip, right? Some of the E-clips are a little bit more tight in the sense that, you see that? The ears aren't exposed, right? Yeah, so there, see it? The rule of thumb is these are replaced when you remove them. You put a new one all the time, right? So to remove you see that snap? That was from the air seal at the rear. So to remove this, normally I just give it a wobble, right? You see it stick out? You would stick the same size flathead. And please, for the love of God, right? These things should be replaced by OEM. Because I have seen so many problematic GHKs running 3D printed nozzle locks. Oh, there, see? So, don't need to be too gentle with it. I use normally this as a tray for all the parts. But now you see, grimy. It has dirt in it. That's why it had that. But, I guess testament to reliability, it was running with dirt inside the nozzle. So what I do with that, get a rag, clean it up. One of the common issues with the Ratec nozzle for GHK is this will come loose. So generally, good rule of thumb is to check it. regularly. Like when you're gonna take the bolt apart for whatever reason, always give it an inspection, right? So this one's not moving, it's still good. I would also clean the inside, right? So how do I clean the inside? I'll get a tool like this, right? Something soft also, stuff it in, right? Normally right now, since I've taken it apart, instead of having to do all that, I would put the lube already, right? Again, give it a good coat here, right? Put it back. You gotta make sure that thing is gone. May e-clips ka sa bag. Carries a good, the e-clips of spec, right? So these are, I don't know what size he gets, but these are better than the ones I have because they hug better. Yeah, that's just the grub screw from here. Spare parts, right? So again, whenever we take apart guns and stuff, we save all kinds of screws, whatever. You never know when you're gonna need them, right? So now, how do I normally put this together? You got a flat head, right? You gotta just make sure you use it to pull the thing out, right? So there, see that? Now that that's out, it should just stick out like that. Don't need to move it too much. Switch back to a larger flat head. Use it to, magnet, right? The best way I do this is I use the flat head, I use my finger, right? Make sure I shoot it well enough. And what I do is from here, you get the mallet. One good hit. You see that? You be quick with it, right? So now you see it's seated well, right? You see it's seated well.
Yeah.
One good hit, don't baby it. And again, right? There's two ways, right? Because if it's a V, I don't know, I forgot what this one is, but most people will put it this way.
Right.
But what it does is, let's see, I put it backwards so that less chances of this should over travel. That's it, right? When I'm ready to put it back together, it's cooked, right? Same thing. You apply a light layer of lube to places where there are wear points, right? I'll even apply sometimes to these things. People might say it's not ideal. Look, this has damage, right? But when I look at it, it should be fine, right? It's something, right? So what I would do also is, just get a screw, toothbrush, right? Toothbrush. And that's normal after a Milsim, so just make sure, right? It's a different kind of gun, right? Oh, careful with that. So, right, always make sure it's up together, right? Up to spec. When you're done, rack it a few times, right? Like after, even in RS, they'll put, rack it. That's how you would know, right? One of the common things people ask is, mainit yung gun ko. And what do we ask? NPAS. Let's start with the GHK. So the GHK, the most reliable NPAS you would have is the RA Tech one, right? Which is the magnetic locking one. So how you would do that, if you, again, had a tool, is you'd lock the bolt back, right? And if you have the tool, you stick it into that hole. And always make sure when you're adjusting, finger on the bolt catch. Because again, you're adjusting something. RA Tech has a few different kinds of tools, right? They have this Type 3, which is, again, the good part about this and why it's so expensive, which patented-wise, is you do not have to remove the bolt anymore, right? On RA Tech, standard, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. In the terms of the NPAS power, when you tighten it, what does it do? Add. When you loosen it, reduce. So knowing that is, again, most people go up to me and say, even the RA Tech tool is not working. The reason why that happens is because you shouldn't feel it moving, right? When you give it some tension, if you're really quiet, you feel the clicks audibly, right? So again, with RA Tech, it's a lot more, not as sensitive as the VFC adjustment, right? You give it a few clicks to see, right? Get it to the limit it wants to be, and then, you remove the tool, and you can test it NPAS-wise, right? That's how easy the RA Tech one is. But the thing is, again, you lose this, you gotta buy a new one, spare. You also have to, if you have the L-type tool, because there's a Type 2 tool, there's a Type 3. The Type 3 tool is this one, the one you don't have to remove the bolt from the receiver. This is the more expensive one because again, look at the design, it has a bearing swivel shaft, so you don't have to pull the bolt out. If you have the cheap L-type, same as the VFC, you pull it out. Right. For VFC, take out the bolt. If you see that valve right over there, right, you see the valve? It's sitting towards the nozzle opening. On the VFC NPAS, it's baliktad. Righty, right? Basically, clockwise is to reduce. Counterclockwise is to add, right? So what I would do with this is there's no special tool, right? 1.5 wise, what you would do is stick it into the hole and you find the groove where the grub screw sits. Feel it, right? Now, if you look at that, right? If I move it left to right, voila. But again, what most people, I guess, mistake is that it won't turn. But what do I do? Because now this is hot for, this FPS is set for outdoors. If I'm going to reduce it, I'm going to go clockwise to tighten it down to the, so right, it's a little bit tight. So what you would do is, you know, add, right? When you choke it to the rear, the FPS increases. When you choke it to the front, it reduces, right? So if I'm gonna leave it, a good idea is to leave it in the middle range, right? So if you look at it now, after adjusting, it's towards like a little bit to the middle. VFC's adjustment is very fine tuning, right? You overturn a little bit, 2 joules. So you're finding it very, very slowly, right? And again, because it's just a grub screw type, the more you tighten, the more you loosen, what does that do to plastic? Shears it out, yeah, basically. So it gets looser, and then sometimes you'll notice the gun will shoot 5 joules, then biglang 0.8. Which means that diagnosing-wise, looking at the chronograph, most likely that grub screw shot out. And don't panic, it's cheap enough, right? So again, the NPAS probably costs like 500 at BSA. You can get it at ProAct for less for VFC, right? So yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. That's how you would adjust the NPAS from the VFC versus the GHK, because again, we don't normally see any other NPAS options for GHK except for RA Tech.